on the program. It's a tale of Harry's. We've left one now. We'll go to Abuja. Another Harry's waiting for us. Let's welcome Harry. I will need there on the show tonight. Harry, it's good to have you on Sports Tonight.
Good to see you again, Austin.
Awesome. Harry, I see you're still proudly Nigeria. You're a big advocate of women's football.
Yep.
Talk to me about WAFCON 2026. What sort of experience was it for you?
Well, Austin, I think it's a better forgotten history, and we want to forget it as fast as possible because my heart was broken. My passion, for Super Falcons is just like when someone loses a child, that you saw the conception, the pregnancy, the delivery, the nurturing to maturity, and all of a sudden, some of the people who didn't know, when that conception and the delivery, the problems of the teething problems before the child got to maturity, came to play poker with our Super Falcons, and the result was what we saw in Morocco. I think last year we were all jubilating and came back happy, but this year, every other person now is hiding their faces. But hey, as a student of history, empires rise and fall, and from the ashes of the fallen empire, another greater empires will rise from there. That's how I want to put it.
Okay, I guess we'll take that. We'll take that for now. Harry, we'll keep you. We need to go on a break right about now. It's getting interesting. Harry is telling us some of the things we want to hear, and we'll still retain the focus on the Super Falcons. We'll also talk about the fact-finding committee. But right about now, we need to go on a break. But let's just quickly let our viewers know that when we return from that break on our DSTV platform, you will be on to Inside the Niger Delta with Mahmoud Akuga. But not to worry, if you want to be on Sports Tonight, you can get us on all other platforms. You'll be with us. And of course, we will still be talking about other things happening in your fast-paced, money-spinning world of sports. Let's go for that break. We'll return for more Sports Tonight. All right, welcome back. Well, we have a lot of ground to cover on the show tonight, and we have a man who can do just that for us. Our Ari Awomribe is still with us in the immediate aftermath of the dismal outing in Morocco at the Women's African Cup of Nations. The Nigeria Football Federation set up a fact-finding committee, and that fact-finding committee has been inaugurated. As a matter of fact, it was inaugurated yesterday. So, Harry, I want to get your thoughts. What's your immediate reaction to that committee, and what do you think could be achieved with setting up that kind of a committee?
Well, yeah, if you ask me, I'm not a fan of setting up committees. When things like this happen, I think you need to move on as quickly as possible. You begin to redraw, what they call going back to the drawing board. You need, to get cracking. Yes, but in this part of the world, we are used to things like this. And at times, I would say it's just a delay tactics to make sure that certain other things, that emotions and things like that, are waved away. But then, I don't know, if you set up a committee and the coaches have been sacked, so who will turn in the technical report. They should have waited for and mandate the coaches to turn in, their report of what transpired. Then from there, the committee will be able to sift through and know, the role, the coaching crew, and everybody around that team.
Just quickly,
So I don't know whether the committee will have that temerity or will have that power, to question people that set them up, or question the supervising ministry, which is the National Sports Commission.
All right.
Because
I want to quickly butt in, Ari. Sorry, I need to quickly butt in. This fact-finding committee is not just about the Super Falcons, a special focus on the Super Falcons, but it's become a problem with all the other national teams not being able to qualify. We thought qualifying for big tournaments was a bare minimum. Now we can't even qualify for tournaments anymore. So just to play the devil's advocate, do you think that kind of issue calls for having this? Because you need to take decisive action. Maybe that's why we're having this committee.
Well, if you ask me, let me restate that I am not a fan of setting up committees to look for something that, you can sit inside your offices and think out of the box and know where certain things have gone wrong and begin to correct them. So that's my answer to that. I am not a fan of setting up committees and, giving weeks and months, and people will come. And at times, why I'm not a fan of setting up committees and things like that? Because I've been around for some time, in this country, as a journalist of 35 years, under my belt, and covering sports, entertainment and sports. So I've seen many. Remember, I don't know if you can rewind. There was a time, and that was as far back as 1995, because I was in the thick of things. I think, if my memories serve me right, I'm the only living Nigerian male journalist, because I have a colleague, my late colleague Henrietta Okigwe was there in 1995 in Sweden, that covered the second FIFA Women World Cup. We lost all the 3 group games and crashed. We lost 2 and we drew 1. Our first ever scoring in the World Cup, FIFA Women World Cup, 3-3 against Canada in Helsingborg. I was there live. And when we came back, they set up, there was a, quarrel between the technical crew and some board members and administrative staff. And there was this committee set up called the Jonathan Ogufre's committee. I think I on my own, nobody invited me, but I think I turned in a report, my own independent report, at Ogulano Drive, NFF office that time, which is now their liaison office. And after that committee, as a neutral, a journalist, but I was close to that team because I've been opportune to be lucky, each FIFA Women World Cup I have covered with Super Falcons. I've been opportune to be in the same team hotel with this team. So I'm a close, witness to whatever that happened in the camp over the period of their competitions, whether in the WAFCON or in the FIFA Women's World Cup. So since that time, I'm not, I don't know what came out of that Jonathan Ogufre's committee to find out what happened in Sweden 1995. But I tell you what, instead of waiting, in fact, the independent report I turned in is that let's forget this thing. Let's plan for the next 4 years, which was 1995, 6, 7, 8, 9 in United States in 1999. And those who were running Nigerian Football Association that time, Malam Stanitoro, Ahmed Stanitoro, is also alive in Bauchi, in Toro town. You can bear witness. He was in the NFF that time, And my stake was that let's plan, because I was opportune to lay my hands in the some materials, some books, which the Scandinavian country of Sweden were using, called, there's a 5-man committee called Project Team. And I imported it and prepared a document and sent to Nigeria Football Association that time. They bought it. Sanitoro bought it. And we set up the same 7-man committee, which I went to Ijora 7-Up bottling company and conscripted, a British national who was the national marketing manager of 7-Up, Pepsi, who brought PepsiCo to 7-Up to market in Nigeria. Ian Nelson, you must have heard about him.
Yeah.
A guru in marketing.
All right.
I brought him in. He was co-opted. I was, first of all, made a member of the women committee. From that women committee of 15 or 17 members, I told myself that it was not going to work. The fewer, the better. And I came up with that idea of Project Team, and it was put together by Alhaji Sanitoro.
All right.
And in the next 4 years of that, after that, we set up a blueprint for the next 4 years of FIFA Women World Cup. Let Super Falcons move forward. And next 4 years, what did Super Falcons got to the quarterfinals? Not only, coming second behind the United States in our Group A, we were able to beat Denmark. We were able to beat North Korea and got 6 points from that group. And the rest was this thing. And we went to quarterfinals. And it was during the FIFA, the year FIFA tried this sudden death. Anybody that scores during the extra time wins the we would have gone all the way to the finals.
Okay.
So I'm not a fan of setting up committees.
All right. I totally get your point. I totally get your point, Ari, but we need to move on. And point noted. Now, the next thing that happened, and I'm going to just quickly say this, and you to my colleague, Austin, you've referenced it in the immediate aftermath. After setting up a committee, the coaching crew has been told to step down immediately. And let's just quickly allow our viewers see the names of the coaching crew of the Super Falcons that had to step down. And you have head coach Justin Madugu and Chijene, the assistant, Awal Makwal, the goalkeeper trainer, Igor Crew, the video analyst, Apa Kalso, the fitness conditioning coach. All of these guys gone. Also, let me just quickly, get your thoughts on this one. The point Ari made about a fact-finding committee, and those you are supposed to get facts from, you've already sacked them. So which facts do you want to get? And of course, I hope that this has a wide umbrella, not just the female national team. All our national teams are not qualifying. That we used to credit the NFF for what they are doing with the national teams, even though there's nothing happening on the domestic scene. But now, even the national teams is zero.
It's such a shame. Without football, we're living in perilous times. And I really don't understand this NFF and why they cannot just see the shame all over their faces and say, look, there's no facts to look for here. It's just waste of time. This is just us trying to fetch water with an open basket. NFF, you have failed. Ibrahim Gusau and his board, they have failed. This is first class failure. Just call a press conference, tell everybody we are sorry. Don't waste our money again trying to do. What facts are we looking for? What are we fact finding on just the Super Falcons? We are not doing well under 17. Under 20, we are not qualifying. Men's team didn't go to the World Cup. Women's team now have been started on the World Cup. What are we looking for? Harry, maybe you should head the committee to fact find this NFF and see how they can leave our football so we know where to start all over again.
You ask me, yeah, but if I call for the inaugural meeting, I will tell them that there's nothing to be to start fact finding. The best thing is just to draw up a program, for the next 2 years, for WAFCON, for the next 4 years, for the FIFA Women World Cup. So also all the other age grade competitions for male and female. We have the materials, Austin. We have, the players. Our problem in this part of the world is just to plan, and to plan. And what baffles me is that there are people, who can do that, but they are not given any opportunity to come and do. They will tell you that, look, your own ideas are in the past. We are the ones who are running the shows now. And I look at them and I cringe. I don't know why. Many a times, somebody like me, I force myself, because of the patriotism in me, to make an input, to give ideas. But many a times, people don't take. They will tell you that you are not in their employ, or they didn't call you to that they know what they are doing. And in that case, what will you do? But we will continue to push the doors until one day it will be open. But those who have listened to us, those who have taken our suggestions, they have, I kept mentioning names. At least Malam Ahmed Sanitoro is still alive in Bauchi. You can collaborate you bring ideas. He bought it. And the same thing, the first, this WAFCON now, everybody is celebrating. The same thing, the same crazy ideas I had and things like that, And those who were running it that time, you bring the ideas and they bought the ideas and it worked. Look at what happened to Super Falcons in Morocco. Some 28 years ago, we went through that Women African Cup of Nations without conceding a goal. From the preliminaries to the finals, we were clean sheet all through. And we dominated Africa for many years, for more than 30-something years. We dominated Africa. But look at what happened there last week. But then, like I said, empires rise and fall. Maybe this empire now that has fallen will also bounce back to become even more stronger if we do the necessary thing. If we let the people who know this terrain. But people at times they said, don't mention the past. And many of those people are alive today and kicking. Who would have thought that these Super Falcons we are celebrating today, that in 1991, that certain individuals brought their money, contributed money for Nigeria to form it. And I mentioned another name, Pa Momo Kadri was the Secretary General, General Secretary, or what they call Secretary General at that time of Nigeria Football Association. Nigeria was not going into participate in African qualifiers.
Harry, I totally agree with everything you've said, and it's important for us to, in part of solving this problem, we have to go back look at where we're coming with women's football in Nigeria and see ways that we can use it.
Exactly.
But bottom line, this NFF, they have failed. Don't waste time or money or resources trying to do any fact finding. Call for a press conference, say Nigerians, we are sorry, this is bad failure, and leave our football alone. Harry, let's talk about the WAFCON final. Cameroon versus Malawi. Right. What sort of final was it for you?
Austin, that being somebody who has championed this, I'm very, very, very glad and happy. Look at the quality of football it displayed that day. And I asked myself, Austin, do you know that the girl that won the best player on that day that scored 2 goals, the Mari Ngamanga. Ngamanga was in the Cameroonian under-17 in just 2018 that came to Benin City here in Edo State to play qualifiers of under-17 Women World Cup against our own Nigerians. And we have about 3 offshoots of that our Nigeria under-17. The Oluwatosi Dimei played against this girl, against this Mari Manga, in 2018 under-17. So what other countries are doing is that they are graduating their players. Like the last person who graduated our players was Thomas Denaby, in 2018 that he came. He was the one that brought Chamakan Nadozie, Gloria Obonna, Rashida Tajibade, all those graduated them from under-17 to under-20 straight to Super Falcons. And today, they are the ones that we are using. The display that day was top-notch. Women football, I'm proud of it, that I'm part of it, even in this part of the world, in Africa, because I saw, Austin, I was the protocol officer in charge of VIP at Kaduna Center in 1998, the first ever WAFCON. And from what quality of football in display 28 years ago, and the ones we saw Malawi and Ghana display, I'm very proud. And mind you, give credit to whom is due. Sepp Blatter, the former FIFA president, stated it, in the late 1990s, that for the good of women football, that women football is the fastest growing sport in the world. And I cannot agree, less than what he has said. Women football is growing in every part of the world, and in Africa here, women, look, it attracted even the presence of the FIFA president. There was a championship being played, cup, this thing being played in Europe that weekend, but he decided to come to Africa, to come to Morocco to watch the finals of WAFCON. And I think everybody who watched that, Malawi and Cameroon, got every piece of the money they paid to watch that night.
Harry, I must say thank you so much for your time on the show. It's always a delight to find the time to bring you when we have more time to talk about women's football. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, Austin.
Yeah, so that's it, Yemi. I don't know about you. I don't know what the look and feel, the mood is back home, but I think it's about time for us to sit down, be realistic with our football, and it starts with this current leadership also stepping aside.
Yeah. Yeah, and the calls are growing louder, I wish we had more time. I mean, you could see both of us having to, talking to Harry as, we are pressed for time. But before we go on the show tonight, let's quickly talk about women's football. It's such an irony that the so-called best football playing nation on the continent, which is Nigeria, our club sides cannot win the women's championship. And it tells you one thing: something is wrong with our domestic football and it needs to be fixed. Now we want to talk about the CAF Women's Champions League quickly, even as we prepare to go. The CAF Women's Champions League, the WAFU B qualifiers, which is what we're going to start with. You have USFA from Burkina Faso, Dynamique from Benin Republic, and the team from Togo. They're all in Group A. In Group B, you have ASEC Mimosas from Cote d'Ivoire, Amden, Dakoa from Ghana, Edo Queens, our own Edo Queens, and of course, another team from Niger Republic. And of course, we hope that Edo Queens, of course, they've always been getting support. We hope that continues. We make it from the WAFU B and go all the way. And while all this is going on, I hope we'll be able to put the fix in and ensure that our football grows.
Absolutely, and I've just been having a look at this now. Maybe Edo Queens might just do, they might do the bare minimum, use talent to push, but it is what it is. It is what you sow, you reap. And look, where we are with our football now, it's just, let's just try. Other than being that country that used to dominate, that person used to fear, So we can only just wish Edo Queens all the best, That's all we can do, support them. Edo State government should also, do their part, see how they can prepare the team to go out there and do what they need to do at the WAFU B. But now, the fact that we're not fair near me is scary. How did we get our football to this level? It's also difficult for you and I to even come here and talk about football in Nigeria.
I mean, and that's why we sat back and listened to Harry. It was just a sad song, and we were forced to listen to it. And the silence of the administrators makes it worse. A lot of conspiracy theories flying around, and I don't want to begin to mention some of the things we're beginning to hear. We're beginning to talk about. We're beginning to hear things about FIFA might come in. We're beginning to hear interference. We're beginning to hear some deals being done. But, if there's any justice in the world, those who got us here shouldn't be running Nigerian football. And this is not a slight on anyone. This is not personal. But football in Nigeria is in coma. It's in a mess. If we're really, really serious, we need to stop trying to, benefit from other countries doing their job. Other countries now have professionals. So what edge? We don't have any edge over anybody anymore. I mean, let me allow you rest. I mean, also we got to go. It's really a shame that we have to come here and be licking our wounds. A tale of woes every time. Really, really sad period for Nigerian football.
Very painful. I'm looking at Edo Queens going against club sides from Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana and Niger Republic. If you want to judge with this last WAFCON, Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana, we're better off with women's football. So that puts us in a very, very difficult place. Best wishes to Edo Queens. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin Okonakman. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Well, it's a wrap here in Lagos as well. I want to thank you for your time on the show tonight. See us again tomorrow. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.